Hello and welcome. What happens when a traditional chemicals company goes into consumer-facing products like nutraceuticals and nutrition? Well, let's find out from R. Mukundan, Managing Director of Tata Chemicals, who joins us and tells us about some of the new things that he's spending time on and the trends he sees ahead. Mukundan, thank you very much for speaking with us. So, let me ask you a broad question first. How are things looking for the chemicals industry this year?
I think if you ask me broadly, I think things are looking up, and I think clearly we see signs of US really doing well, and Europe coming out of trouble, and India has great potential. I always believe that this is a blip in the screen of the growth of the country, and I think India is going to move on to back to 7-8%. So I remain extremely optimistic about future. I think we've been overtly pessimistic about it. Many of the structural issues are behind us, and if anything fails now, we have to blame ourselves because we then don't know how to learn from mistakes.
Right. So, you've been talking about spotting weak signals. I mean, what are the weak signals that, or maybe not weak signals, that you've spotted or are spotting that's giving you this confidence?
I think broadly, if you look at the economic data, what's been going on, what's been happening broadly, if you look at India, for example, if you look at our current account deficit, the way the numbers are moved with the tightening of gold imports and much better management, it clearly shows there's a sense of direction. Once you have the will, you can execute it. A lot of times it's not the execution, it's actually having the will. And we spoke about that in the conference, about having the courage, having the will to move on. I think it stops us. If you look at subsidies, having more directed subsidies and moving ahead, it's again the will issue. Finally, I think we also get confused halfway through because we've started this whole program of UIDAI, which is a great program to give more focused subsidy to get the fiscal deficit under control. I think we have to take it to completion. Many of the projects we start, we need to complete them fast. And if you look at our history, we're littered with projects which have suffered what I call midlife crisis. They go to execution almost to 40-50%, and then they're unexecuted for a long period of time because some controversy erupts. You look at the flyover, the Bombay Bandra Worli ceiling, there was a fisherman story which held that up for a long, long time. We don't need that. I think we need clarity of purpose. We need to quickly solve the problem and move on.
Okay. But how are things looking on the consumer side?
I think consumer side is a great stuff which is unfolding, and I think as I said, India is a story where there's a massive urbanization happening without the intervention of government, and we are not prepared for it. So we're going to have big cities which are going to throw up problems. We'll solve them as we move along. That's the way we'll probably evolve. And if you look at broad data from what we see, when we are about 3 trillion, 2 trillion will be in 24 cities, and that's going to be a big opportunity for people, and massive markets are going to open up. Markets in consumption of food, consumption of nutrition, consumption of housing, consumption of transportation. Each one of these sectors is going to see massive growth, and I think we are underestimating the power of this urbanization as India moves forward.
And how does that affect the fortunes of Tata Chemicals?
Certainly, we are betting hard on it. We do believe that's the direction to go. So we've committed ourselves to spend the next 5-10 years in building a portfolio of basic nutrition. We are not here to get any other habits. We just want to enhance the Indian habits of food eating and make it a great experience for Indian homemaker. And that's the direction we want to take and provide solutions towards that. And with our expertise in agriculture and with our understanding of the Indian housewife, we think we can provide the channel and the pipeline to bring in new products. And
what are you learning so far from the journey into or onto nutrition?
It's a great opportunity, but at the same time, Indian market distribution is always a challenge. At the end of the day, the cost of distribution, the cost of reaching the last mile, and
so you include salt under nutrition?
That's the birthplace of what we do, and obviously we do had a micronutrient called iodine in that. We are trying hard to get double fortified salt, which is also going to bring in iron, and from there we spotted this opportunity, and we are riding the same distribution network. But certainly I think we've got logistic costs, supply chain costs, and the costs related to distribution is a big challenge in this country. And it's not a small country. We say India is one country, and each zone presents its own problems and its own challenges. But it's a great opportunity, so we're going to work on it and sort of overcome these little challenges. Technology is going to play a big role. IT is going to play a big role in making sure these little bottlenecks and the supply chain issues get cleared.
So can you tell me more about the product itself? So you're saying, okay, the delivery is one part of the challenge. What about the product and your search to find the right fit with the consumer?
For example, if you look at pulses, we launched lentils because we believe India is a vegetarian country, and largely the protein source is going to be pulses. And we believe we have a role to play in making sure that we can bring a sustainable supply source into this country, and also a brand which people can trust. Up till now, pulses have been very bought loose by housewife, and it's an assurance of quality once you package it. And also we source from specific regions which have great taste, which have great ability to cook well for a certain grade. So we have a very specific grade we source for the idli markets in south, and different one which we source for the dokla markets. So obviously it's the same pulse, but then we are very particular about the taste, the way it cooks, the way the flavor comes out. And these are little nuances we've built up over a period of time. And these are things which probably will help us differentiate from rest of the pack and deliver solutions which housewives love.
So how much time do you spend on the nutrient and the more consumer-facing business versus your traditional manufacturing?
You know, if you see our business, we are about 70% still a big commodity company, and that piece is a large piece. But in terms of attention and understanding, maybe we all understand that far better than the consumer piece. So we have spent a lot of time trying to understand consumer insights, what drives behavior, what drives change of the consumer. At the same time, what is the way we can add value there? And I think each company brings with itself unique sense of value. So if you say where do you spend a lot of time, I think we try to understand the nutrition issues in India quite a bit, and also spend time understanding the consumer. And if you say what is the distribution of time, I would say probably about 30-35% of time goes in the new business. And of course, the old business doesn't take that much of time, but there are other issues you need to take care of when you run the company. You've got to look at people issues, you've got to look at the issues related to the regulatory framework within which we operate. And Pulses, for example, has a terrific regulatory framework. There is something called the minimum quantity order, which means you can't stock more than 350.
When you say terrific, you're not saying it kindly.
No, there's a huge bottleneck because it creates, and it was created so that there are no shortages. People don't hoard, but in effect, it has gone counter when you want to build a very strong supply chain, because the maximum quantity you can store at any given point of time varies from state to state, and that's 35 tons, 25 tons, and many times not even a full truckload. Then how do you build a supply chain? So we've got to overcome these little problems.
And how's the commodity cycle looking overall? And
commodity cycle is on a very positive move, and I think that we've been through a massive down cycle, and the markets have been steady for the last 1 year. And we do believe that going forward, the markets are going to move in the positive direction. And I remain absolutely optimistic about the way the world economy is going to move. It's not going to be doomed for the next 7, 8, 10 years. I think this world has seen enough of self-correction. And I think we now need to think about what the future holds.
How does the China factor stack up? I'm talking about the commodity and the businesses that you're in.
You see, at the end of the day, we do know what the big trends are. If you look at the trends, one of the big trends we are hoping will sort of unfold itself, and it's already unfolding, is sustainability trend, which means large part of our business, which we today sell into various markets, we've got a new market opening up. So we've got this flue gas treatment market, which effectively means you produce products for air pollution control. And that didn't exist before. And it's coming into play because the markets are shifting. So we've got new solutions.
Flue gas is a derivative.
It comes out of the, when you burn something, it goes out of the
right,
stack.
So derived from something that's already
being burned. But then we've got treatment material, which our products can treat it, make sure that it doesn't go to the atmosphere, it gets absorbed before it goes. So we are finding new uses for our product. And the whole magic is to say that if sustainability is a trend, where can our products play a role there, and figure out those properties and those roles, and then bring new markets to your own product. So that's the search we are in. And I think that is one trend we are riding. The second trend is the efficiency trend and experience trend through digitization, through technology shifts. And again, there's a big role for smart materials, which I spoke about, biotechnology and nanotechnology. And we are investing in these two areas because we believe maybe 10 years from now, 15 years from now, they'll have a big role to play.
And where would, sort of, if you could illustrate that a little?
For example, we already started a first product in nanotechnology, water purification. So Swachh water purifier is a clear...
I was thinking about your manufacturing plant, so now I understand.
Yeah, I think it's about market spaces. And if you look at biotechnology, we've just about finished the trial run of our nutraceutical plant in Chennai, which again is an entry through biotechnology. So we do believe that these two technologies are for new solutions. We have massive solutions scientists have worked out in terms of changing the properties of material, but we we are in search of where can it be used, and many of these uses are in automotive industry, many of these uses are in the aerospace industry, and one of the things we find is that there's a reluctance in customers to try new materials because, we spoke about this in this conference, the fear of failure. They don't want to try. So we've got to walk a little slowly with our customers in doing these development and bringing these technologies.
Right. So what's the one good thing that you're looking forward to in 2014 and one not so encouraging? Or
if you ask me, I think the big issue in India is going to be the overhang, which we have, the political overhang, the election. I wish we get one party running this, or let's say one clear mandate. Quickly over with one clear mandate, not a confusion, because it has its own damaging consequence. And what is a good thing I'm looking for? I think clearly, if we do get over that hump in India, it's going to be great for all of us.
And we're all well prepared.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you.